Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so happy to have each of you here. I know you guys are logging in from all over the country. Welcome to the USA Fibroid Centers. I am one of the brand ambassadors for the USA Fibroid Centers. So happy to be here tonight. We have an exciting interview tonight with someone that's really pretty amazing. I have been following her for quite some time now and so impressed by her work, especially knowing all of the sacrifices that she makes in the entertainment business to make sure everybody is okay. But tonight we are talking about her health and how she had to make sure she was okay with her reproductive health. She's going to talk to us tonight about her journey with fibroids, and I think that she is in the building. She is in the building, so we are not going to prolong the hour, but I do want to just bring her in, and then I'm going to introduce her. I'm going to introduce her, and she is coming right on in. She is coming right on in. Hello, everybody. I see you all coming on. Oh, my God, look at her.
Look at
she
you.
Is so fabulous.
I was just putting you on Instagram. I said, Kim is giving.
Oh my God.
Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, my sentiments exactly. You are so gorgeous and absolutely beautiful. Welcome to our platform, Miss Diddy. Welcome. Oh my God, this is so awesome. I'm so happy to have you on behalf of the USA Fibroid Centers team, all of our staff, our doctors. We are so thankful because we know that you have such a huge schedule and lots of responsibilities. And so we are just so grateful that you have taken the time to chat with us tonight and to help some of our followers and your followers to talk about reproductive health. This is called Talk About You, this particular platform. And U is short for uterus because this is like a little taboo thing. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of women don't talk about our uterus, girl. We could talk about red bottoms. We could talk about trips. We could talk about what is hot, what's trending. We can talk about who went viral and who got canceled, but we will not talk about our which is our uterus a lot of times. And so I'm thankful to you tonight. I want to just say thank you first. You are so dope to me.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, you are so dope. I can't wait to hug you.
I know, that's what I was like, I wish we were in person.
I can't wait to hug you when I get to LA.
We will have the chance.
But I do want to just come on and I want to introduce you properly because you deserve it. You've done some pretty amazing things. So Miss Diddy, we call her the branding and lifestyle genius, which she really is. And this was noted and stated by Forbes magazine, guys. So let's just be clear. This ain't just coming from a blogger, honey. This is coming from Forbes magazine. Miss Diddy is a young African-American female entrepreneur born and raised in Los Angeles. You are not an implant, so you already know the vibes, the LA vibe. And you have mastered it, proving yourself to be the go-to girl to most celebrities. You have created your own brand agency. It's called The Brand Agency, which I love. I just absolutely love that. And you specialize in brand partnerships, marketing concepts, and you are connecting the dots between entertainment, sports, politics, and music, which is really pretty incredible because those can be some hard genres to work in. I work in all of those genres, and for you to be able to connect those dots speaks volumes to me about who you are. And you are also a not only high level connections, but you always found a way to give back and contribute to your community. So this is part of that. And we just want to congratulate you and thank you and welcome you again to our platform. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. I'm so happy to see you and thank you for this time. I think you are amazing, and the way you even speak about your story and open the door for that is so welcoming and refreshing because it is a very personal, very personal situation, and I'm not 100% completely comfortable with speaking out all about it. I'm a pretty private person aside from my career being public, and so I had some great support that really pushed me to say no. You really got to open your mouth about this one. And I see what Shayla's in here. Shayla Cohen, she's in incredible, just produced the Oscars of Black woman, and she is my incredible friend who pushed me to actually get the surgery. She was like, called me one day and was like, hey, you have to take care of yourself. More so, she told me I need to focus on myself and take care of myself, and that the work will be there.
Yes. And thank you to Shayla for that, because we need friends like that, especially at the high level and the demand that you're in. It's very important, because without you, then there would not be no us, right? You are really like the Olivia Pope of your industry. You really, I mean, I have watched you through the years and just been blown away by how brilliantly you work. And it only could be God-given how you are able to just maneuver like you do. So I'm really grateful to your girlfriend, Shayla, for saying that, and her as well. We're all in such great demand, and we always, I feel like this, and I'm sure you probably can attest that, you know, we just don't want to miss moments, right? It's like, it's almost like, if I miss this moment, it is never going to be another Grammys. It's never going to be another opportunity, and that's so not true. And so thank you for that. Second thing that I want to applaud you before we go right into the questions is that you said something that really resonated with me, and that is that you just weren't completely comfortable talking about your issues with fibroids, and yours span much past fibroids, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But it's funny because we can talk about everything else, right? We can talk through people's life so easily. Like, you don't see how you should be doing this, and this. But when it comes to us, I think, and I probably will ask you this again after our chat, but I know for me, I felt a lot like you, and I've never even admitted that I didn't want to talk about it. So, you know, as open as I like to call myself, and I'm a minister as well, I think that people are, people just assume that everything is great, and I think that's kind of how we wanted to stay, because we're private people. Oh yeah, like, oh, everything's good. So let's get back to you. You know?
No, but being a young mover and shaker, and a youthful, I'll say youthful, right? Mover and shaker in this business, the appearance has to be presented a certain way, right? Like, I saw my sister in here, Brooke Valentine.
Hey, Brooke.
Yeah, I see Marcus Black in here as well, Jamil, like, and these are some of my real core family that, you know, when it comes to health things, we share with each other, right? This is what's going on, this is what's going on, and we keep a close, tight knit on it, but we don't speak out about it because it's tough to speak about it. You don't want to be presented like you're weak, or you're not able to do the job, or, you know, I'm a really strong, like, warrior, so I don't want to look like it, like, you know, I'm weak, really. You know,
listen.
You know,
period. Oh, period.
Exactly. So, this was something that really brought me to my knees, so to speak, though, especially having this type of surgery. But I've been, of course, struggling with the pain of it for years.
Yeah, and I do want to just give people a little bit of background about what you actually dealt with, which I know what I dealt with, having 14 fibroid tumors, but you surpassed me, because not only did you struggle with fibroids, you had 20 of them. Yeah, you had 20 fibroid tumors removed through a mini lap myomectomy, and then you had a laparoscopic bilateral ovarian cystomectomy, right? Which means, all of you that don't know what that means she also has cysts, ovarian cysts, so on top of fibroids. And then, wait a minute, I want y'all to know how dope she is, how she worked through all this pain, because if you were like me, I was a walking pill box. If anybody had any pain, honey, I could fix it. I'm like, well, they're like, what you got, Kim? You got some 800 milligrams? You got, what you got? You got some chocolate so I can stay awake? I know you got something in that bag. But on top of that, you had an incision of, you had endometriosis.
Yeah.
So you had fibroids. I need people to understand that you had 3 different things happening. You had fibroids. You had ovarian cyst, which I too had. but not simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you had endometriosis.
Mm-hmm.
You have got to be kidding me. With a high level, high paced, well-respected career. Come on, Diddy. Come on, girl.
I didn't even think about it like that. Like,
oh my God.
My doc, so the whole, because you broke it down, but I never thought about it like that. I'm trying not to get emotional, but my doctor, I saw also DJ Head coming here. I wanted to shout my brother out from the city. And Marcus Black is continuously telling y'all how much I'm always trying to work and work out and everything. And
Marcus, did you beat her? Because
listen,
he said you got back to work a week after all of this.
That's my brother, and he was like, "What are you doing? What, you know?" But I had a mini lap myomectomy, laparoscopic bilateral ovarian cystectomy with an excision of endometriosis. And yes, you're right, fibroids is extreme. And I had about over 20 fibroids removed, and I had cysts on my ovaries. And the way my cysts on my ovaries sat, they were extremely dangerous for my body. I was also at risk of kidney failure because of where my cysts sat and my fibroids. And I'm like a 10% of women, the way my fibroids grow inside and outside. So what I would continuously also deal with is ovarian cyst rupture, which would put me in the hospital. And that's when your cyst rupture, and it's basically just like poison sitting in your body, and it has to just come out however it's going to come out. And that's prior to me even having the surgery. So I've been hospitalized from that over the years, probably about 4 times. And then I also had stage 3 endometriosis, which if women have endometriosis, they understand it's the most it's so very painful. I brushed over how painful the ovarian cyst rupture is, but the endometriosis is so painful. And you're talking about, I'm out at night, I'm in nightlife. I see one of my promoter partners and one of my closest friends, Adib, come in with Supreme Team LA. Like, I'm in the clubs, I'm at events, I'm running events. My company does like 50, 60 events a year. I'm working out. You know, when my doctor removed everything, she was like, no, when she actually first did the ultrasound, she's like, you work out? And I was like, yeah, about 4 times a week. She's like, it's not possible. You can't even, with this type of, you know, with these fibroids sitting in your body, you can't, there's no way you can work out.
Yeah, it's impossible. So I want you to, their questions are coming in so quickly because people are like appalled and in awe of you, and you all should be, because I only had probably a third of the condition that you had, and I literally felt myself, I felt like I was dying. It was almost like right was wrong and wrong was right. Like I had overcompensated so much for the fibroids and the pain. I had, you know, I had to have blood infusions. Blood transfusions, iron infusions, all of these things just to overcompensate. Tell us what some of your worst, because I want people to understand the differences, what your worst symptoms were like.
Okay. I want to also shout out Felicia Font, who I saw come in here. She's
Felicia,
powerhouse. So incredible publicist and beyond, and I respect her so much. So I'm glad she's stopping in, because I know she has a real story also to tell. So, but yeah, the problem is a couple things, right? As Black women, you know, it's funny. I just said this in a work a partnership call I had earlier with a brand that I'm doing business with. You know, I told them that we don't always want to be called strong. You know, like people think that it's like, you know, you're complimenting a Black woman by calling her strong. It's like, well, no, I don't want to have to be that strong. That's what's forced upon me. If I ever took the time to stop and realize how much pain I was in, I wouldn't work. So I didn't, like you're saying, I didn't even think about it. I was just powering through, you know, but my debilitating, so cramps are called dysmenorrhea. That is the medical term. And I learned that early on because I was having such bad cramps. And the women know the type of cramps that you feel it in your back, your legs, you have headaches, you know, debilitating headaches. You wake up with the headaches, you can't move, you know, Brooke Valentine talking about preach, and men don't understand. We say we have cramps. We're not saying we have cramps and we're in a little bit of pain. We're talking about the inside of your body feels like you're squeezing out a wash rag. I try to explain it in real serious ways to my male friends, because you know what's, a woman came in my DMs and she said, you know what we really should have is time off from work for these conditions. And I never thought about that. So how much it's not even cared for. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
You should be given sick days for this. You know, I would still be going to work. And by the way, TMI, but like bleeding like somebody stabbing my stomach. Like,
I mean, let's talk about how many outfit changes we've had to do. Let's talk about how many clients' homes that I've been in who have beautiful furniture, whose furniture I didn't want to sit in or sit on because I was afraid I was going to bleed through it. Let's talk about wearing everything shy of a diaper, you know. And I know the guys are like, ugh. No, it's just real, you all. You would be surprised what was probably in Diddy's purse. You know, in your...
I end up staying home because, no, I worked through all of it. I just try my best.
I know you did. I know you worked through all of it because I know your track record. So it's no way you stay.
No way I'm staying home.
It's no way you could accomplish all you've done and stay home, because you wouldn't have done half the things that you've done. Because what people don't realize about the fibroid, and I do want to get a little bit into how debilitating they are.
Yeah.
Usually when you have a fibroid issue like Diddy does, what Diddy had, when you have 20, you're usually bleeding more than 3/4 of the month. So you're talking about losing blood at a rate that it's not being replenished. Yeah. So you're talking about bleeding 14, 21 days out of the month, and on top of being in pain, on top of being probably very tired and fatigued, on top of having... And I'm just letting them know this because I want them to understand what you
tiredness, but
you're just exhausted.
And it's not that I want to be tired, because at the rate in which I work and have to work and do work and have a team and employees and a whole company to run and clients, being tired is not something that I'm able to do. Somebody said in here, here's the thing too, like it's I don't say it's a myth, but it has a lot to do with it. A lot of people say like your diet. Someone said they removed red meat and it changed everything. That's not for everyone.
It's not.
That is for someone, because the thing about it is some people are actually supposed to have red meat in their diet in moderation. Right. So sometimes you can remove something and it mess up something else. So when I stopped eating meat, it actually triggered my anemia worse because of also the fibroid.
Me too.
And then Brooke knows I was waking up with headaches that I had to go back to sleep.
And let's be clear.
Get back up.
Let's be clear, guys, not to cut you off. And for that person who those people who are commenting, you all realize that she lives in Los Angeles. She's in the capital of holistic living. So I'm sure you've tried everything. And I think people
it's a real lifestyle for us.
Oh yes, it's a real lifestyle in Los Angeles. It's something that when you don't want to eat right, you're eating right, because most of the restaurants and such are usually organic or you know, the nicer restaurants. And so
for sure.
Yeah, so you know, a lot of people assume that it's if you don't consume the red meat or if you cut out the sugar, and statistics say that we have people who are fibroid survivors who have impeccable, if you want to say that, track records with their eating habits.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And they still have 20 fibroids.
Absolutely.
So this is the reason why we're doing the research and why we're having these conversations. So to answer your question, because I do want to answer, because quite a few people have come on and said, have you guys detoxed? Have you, changed your diet? And the answer is yes.
But once it's to a place to where it is, that there's no way to kind of, some things, now listen, I don't say everyone should have surgery. I'm saying to the place to where mine got to, I had to. It wasn't something that I could no longer not do. So I'm not an advocate of just go the surgical route. Because I was saying, actually, my girlfriend Kiana, she tapped into Kiana Essex. She said she had this procedure, but not like mine, 2020. But we were talking, and it's the first thing that people think you should go to, but there's other avenues that you have to look into. You need to check if you have PCOS. There's a lot of other things that you need to like research first. But let's get to the question. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so no, but this is good because what you're doing is you're answering a lot of the questions that I already have. And I think that that's what people really just want to know, you know, and everybody's body and lives are so different. Here at USA Fibroid Centers, if I may, and thank you all for, you know, logging in, for those of you that are coming in, what we promote is a non-invasive procedure called UFE, which is uterine fibroid embolization, where the fibroids are removed through the vein. And it is a less invasive way to remove fibroids versus the myomectomy versus the hysterectomy. Ms. Diddy had a myomectomy. I had a hysterectomy, which means that I can no longer have children. This was the option that was given to me. With the myomectomy, you can still have children, but there are other complications that come with the myomectomy. Let's talk a little bit about your process with the myomectomy and just help those that are listening to explain what it entails. How long did it take for you to go through your healing process, so that people understand? Because what we promote here is UFE. If I had known about UFE, let me say this for those that are jumping on. If I knew about UFE 6 years ago, I would have made a different choice. So we're having this conversation, you all, to enlighten you about your options, because a lot of times we just don't know our options. And the reason why we get influencers like Miss Diddy and myself to tell you that is because we should know better, right? Because we're very exposed to a lot of things. But unfortunately, when you're sitting on a table, right, with a doctor, and their option to you is myomectomy in your case, hysterectomy in mine, you believe them. You like, you're my doctor. You got a degree in doctor. In health and wellness. I have my profession is this, so I know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing. And even if we had gotten second opinions, oftentimes my second opinion may have been a myomectomy. Your second opinion may have been a hysterectomy.
No, seriously.
That's real talk. So let's talk a little bit about your myomectomy, which is what you did to get rid of the fibroids. Well, this was one of her surgeries to get rid of the fibroids. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So I also saw Adam Blackstone come in here. That is my brother. He is, this is some incredible people that are tapping in here. MD over for the Grammys, the Oscars, the Super Bowl. I mean, just killing it. So thank you, bro, for tapping in too. My surgery, like you said, is one of them of all of the surgeries that I got at one time. So when you say talk about your healing process, I'm not done. The thing about this type of surgery is it's much like a C-section, and so it is basically a C-section. Basically,
it's a C-section. I'm glad you said that. It's there.
They cut you open. That's what it is. But I am 2 months post. I think February 25th. So March.
Whoa.
So I'm 2 months post. So I'm not even close to done or close to 100. And it's interesting because people are like, oh, I see you outside. No. A lot of times I do what I can and then I get back in the bed, you know, because I cannot not work. But I'm not even close to 100. So a lot of times the process, what has to be understood is someone gets that surgery or anything like that, it's far more than physical. The physical is one component of it. The emotional, the mental, all of those things are probably as hard as the physical recovery is. Something that I went through after my surgery, aside from physically trying to recover from the surgery, is they pump CO2 in your body to separate your skin or your so they can see your insides, basically. Sorry, y'all, still got surgery brain. They pump CO2 in you so that they can see your internal, organs, so that they don't puncture anything, because a woman's internal organs, everything is really close. Your bladder, everything is right around each other. The cervix, the uterus, the bladder.
That's right.
So they have to be very careful to not puncture any of that. So they pump CO2, which is air, in your body. So after my surgery, probably like Brooke would know, probably about a week and a half after, I started to, the air is supposed to be coming out of your body. But if anyone knows what it's like to have gas or air trapped in your body, it is literally like you feel like you're gonna die. So on top of me trying to recover from the physical component of it, I had air, the CO2 trapped in my shoulder, my blade. I had it trapped in my lungs, so I couldn't breathe. I was trying to breathe through it. The gas pain is insane. Someone said that it's literally the most painful, sharp pain. I felt like I needed to go be back in the hospital. I went through that. The mental fog of, you know, there's times I'd be thinking something, trying to say something, and couldn't get it out. So I went through a lot mentally trying to get my brain back pre-surgery. And it was tough because I'm a very sharp person. Just naturally, I've always been that way since a kid. Like, I was just super, super, super sharp. I had, Marcus Black said I had foggy memory. I did, because I had to talk to him, because I was like, what's going on? And I was scared that I wouldn't get back to how I was before. Oh my God, Candace joined. You guys might know Candace. She's an incredible, I won't even call her an influencer because she's a huge business person, but she's one of my favorite dancers. Candace is who introduced me and made me go to the surgeon that I actually had my procedure. Candace has PCOS, and she's very vocal about her journey with PCOS. So tap in with her page too. She's at CANDICE. She has a great YouTube whole episode about her journey with PCOS, because that's another thing that they don't check us Black women for, when we really should be checked for PCOS as well, because sometimes it's just that. I want to show you guys this, and this is going to be super, super nasty, but I'm going to show you guys so you understand why I actually had to have the surgery. So these are my fibroids. Marcus Black, move your face, because you know you're going to get sad. These are the fibroids that they took out. Look here.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that was all in my uterus. You know, men don't do well with pictures like that.
No.
All in my uterus. I see my guy Goo tapped in as well, my guy from Texas. But yeah, the journey is still not done, you know, and I was trying to get back to Marcus. I was trying to get back to work, and I was like, oh, I'm not fully ready yet. My brain is not, it's, you know, because here's the thing. If you see all those fibroids that they cut out, that means that I'm also recovering from all of those cuts in my uterus.
Absolutely.
It's cut out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a process, you all, that she is really, you know, healing from the brain fog. You know, I know that one of my symptoms was I was really low energy, which kind of made me feel sad. So I would drink lots of coffee. You know, I was just like, coffee, where's my coffee? Please give me some coffee. You know, just trying to.
Very tired.
Just exhausted.
Very exhausted on so many levels. I saw my trainer coming here too, Mario, and he was pushing me to, you know, really pay attention to this as well. And the tiredness makes me very sad, like you're saying too, because I'm a quick moving person, you know, and so me trying to get back into the swing of things has been a really tough process. And a lot of people, because they're so used to my resilience and my strength and me, you know, they're like, oh, you back? Oh, you good. And I'm like, I'm not good yet. You know, I'm still dealing with it. I'm still feeling it. And I can do good during the day, and then my incision starts hurting. Yeah. Now I need to go and lay down, and, you know, you don't know if you should lay on it, not lay on it. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And so I know that you are still healing from this, not only physically, but mentally, psychologically, socially. You know, we were, you know, in the house for 2 years, right?
Sure.
And, you know, everything was virtual. And now that we're able to kind of maneuver a little bit differently, then you're back in the house again for 6 more weeks. You know, so the mental duress that you have had to endure, I can only imagine. Also, just trying to second guess, like you said, because of the brain fog. You know, am I Am I as sharp? And I want to say, yes, you are. I want to just, yeah, I want you to know that from a fibroid survivor, one to another, you will get everything back, right? You will regain, and plus, because your life spells resiliency, right? And because you're so resilient and such a fighter, you have no choice but to fully heal and to be at and above where you were before. Because imagine how you would be. Imagine how you would be if you were 100% in your worst moments, right? If you were at 100%, you would be probably doing double or triple what you're doing, what you've accomplished. So I do want to just say that to you, that you are brilliant and smart and just sought after. And so now that you are beginning the healing process, I want you to look forward to just being even greater than you were before, right? It's just there's called the circle of life. Like, you already are great. It's innately in you. So this was just, you know, something that we dealt with for a period of time, but now that you are coming back, I want you to talk a little bit about how you felt when you did get the diagnosis. Like when the doctor said, hey, you have blah, 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 blah. Was it all at once with the fibroids, with the endometriosis, or was it in steps? Talk to us a little bit about.
Because I've been dealing with this for some years in terms of, you know, whether it's painful menstrual cycles, ovarian cyst rupturing, being in the hospital behind that. You know, I know that this problem exists. I knew that I had fibroids or things like that, but I just didn't know to the extent of which it was. So at the point to which I went to my surgeon who actually did my surgery, Candace, who I said she sent me to, Dr. Taiz Ali-Abadi, when she gave me the ultrasound, she said, this is a mess. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, you have at least 10 fibroids in here, at least. Now, mind you, Ghetto Kaiser, which is a PPO insurance, which a lot of West Coast kids have this insurance because it's a West Coast medical
it is
facility. So that's something that a lot of West Coast kids have. And my mom worked there for almost 30 years, so I knew nothing different. She was on the administrative side, but I knew nothing different. I only knew Kaiser. And until you have a specialty issue, do you not totally understand how the difference of PPO and HMO really affects things. And in particular, Black women, you know, they don't respect our pain. And so they don't think we're ever in real pain, like I was saying in the beginning. So, you know, when I was at Kaiser, they were like, you got about 4 or 5 fibroids. You can, you know, it's not bothering you. You don't have to, it's all right. And,
so they kind of just dismissed it when they.
Yeah, but for
so
me,
was
it was like, all right, well, you know, I don't want to have this real side. Why would I choose to have like a crazy ass surgery, you know, and I can just not do that, you know? And so not until I went to the surgeon that actually performed my
now, was this a Kaiser doctor or you got a second?
No, I went outside the network, which is a whole nother thing, you know, It's a very expensive thing. And, you know, thank God that I'm in a position to be able to spend the type of money I needed to spend on my health care, you know, or on what I needed for my health. But that's not everyone's story. And I started a charity recently. My partner, Braden, helped me with that. And based on that, because I really want to raise funds for women that aren't able to go to those type of doctors. Like I was able to go outside the network because I had the funds to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the night and day difference of my experience and of my surgery and everything, because you saw the fibroids, but Kaiser told me I have 4 or 5, and if it doesn't bother me, don't worry about it. But they didn't check my egg count. They didn't check my hormone level. They didn't test me for PCOS. They didn't say, hey, here's what you're at risk for if these fibroids stay in you and continue to grow. Hey, you are in your 30s as a woman who does not have children and have never been pregnant. We definitely need to take a deep dive look into this, you know?
Right.
And so going outside of my network, doing that made the world of a difference. And to answer your question, when she told me, you know, it's very emotional, but I had so much already going on in my life, personally, work-wise, family things. So I didn't want to wrap my brain around it. I just kind of like heard it. All right, what I got to do? All right, how much it's going to cost? All right, what's the date? Because if I kind of settled in it, it would take me to a different place. So
Right.
too, in my recovery after the surgery, I had an even tougher time emotionally because I hadn't dealt with how I felt about it prior to the surgery. I worked, when I say I work until the day before my surgery. Not regular work, like was in Cleveland for an All-Star, came home, worked, and had surgery 2 days later.
That's a lot. And,
yeah.
you know, I do want to, and I want you all to hear her process for those of you who are sitting on a diagnosis right now, and you're not sure what you should do with that diagnosis. You know, should you go in and get the myomectomy versus the hysterectomy versus the UFE? Right. And I do suggest getting a second opinion, even if it's within your network. I mean, just having that conversation, or having the conversation with whoever your provider is. Hey, look, I heard about this procedure called UFE. You know, what do you think about the UFE? Because unfortunately, you know what, Diddy, they don't give us those options about UFE. Because it's not surgical. It means you don't really have to go under the knife, which requires, of course, we know, more money. So I think that it's very unfortunate that UFE is typically not one of the options is given. I never even heard of UFE.
Me neither.
Believe it or not, Diddy, until I did a commercial for the USA Fibroid Centers. I was the makeup artist for the commercial that they're running. And I was like, so tell me about this UFE procedure, because I have fibroids, and I'm talking to the doctors here at USA Fibroid Centers, and they're saying, they were asking me all these questions about, well, why weren't you given an option, and why weren't you? And I'm thinking, well, why wasn't I given an option? Because I didn't know it was an option to be given, and so like it's almost like I had to relive my procedure all over again, because I felt like, what if I wanted to have more children? Because I mean, let me be honest with you, I had one and I was good with that. But what if but what if I was not good with that, right?
Yeah,
I'm thinking about all of the women that are on here who have, they're like, can I have a baby? Can I still have a baby? The answer is, if you have a hysterectomy, the answer is no. With a myomectomy, you can still have children, but like she said,
make sure you can.
You gotta make sure you can.
Because my blood count is, not my blood count, my egg count is where it's supposed to be. So if I chose to have children, I could. But also, you don't know until you go in there. And also, you don't know until they test it. You want to make sure you also don't have cancer. That's something that's also not discussed. So, I was diagnosed with stage 3 endometriosis. To me, that endometriosis is really bad. Endometriosis is the #2 reason for infertility. It's terrible, it's painful, and it's horrible. And so, if I would have known about that procedure too, I would have looked into that further. But one thing I would say to everyone is, with your doctors, get all your blood work done. First of all, make them do your egg count, which is called an AMH. Make them check you for PCOS, because they're not going to do.
What's PT? Now tell us what that is. What's PCOS?
So don't get me lying on the pronunciation of the word, but PCOS is Candace, what is it? Write it in. Polycystic something.
Just tell us what it does. Tell us what it does.
Well, PCOS is a condition that not always they test you for, doesn't mean you need surgery. So like, say Candace, what I'm talking about, she had PCOS. She didn't need surgery, but she had the same symptoms as to me. She had the same, cramps and all of this. Sometimes you just have, it's something with your hormones and your cyst and it not being leveled out, and that's pain as well. So that's something to check into too. Polycystic
ovarian syndrome. Got it.
Exactly. So that's something that I never heard of until my friend Candace told me about it. So I pressed, because, I'm from LA, I'm a little hood. So I pressed my doctor, like, yo, why would you not check me for that? Why, in my 30s, I have a history of issues with these woman parts, why would you not check me for that?
So so other women in your family had these same issues? Is that what you're saying?
So, I mean, I think they're all in Black women's family
Oh
in
yeah.
general.
Oh yeah.
I don't know enough of the women in my family's history in this regard, but my aunt had a hysterectomy, so right above me. My mom didn't really have cramps or any real issues in that area, so she didn't fully understand what I would be going through with cramps. She knew I was in pain, but my aunt did, her sister.
Wow. You know, it's funny because
wait, I want to say that somebody said that's why we have to go to Black doctors. That's not entirely true. Let me tell you why. I thought so too. It almost really boils down to your health care. If you have the opportunity to get if you have a PPO, if you have the opportunity to get a second opinion if you have an HMO, if you have the opportunity to get a second opinion with a PPO, and you just pay, say, the consultant fee, the first doctor's visit, whatever, pay that. Because I went to a Black surgeon with my HMO at Kaiser. In particular, I went to speak to a Black surgeon. I asked, I need to speak to a Black surgeon, a Black doctor. That is who told me, if it don't bother you, you don't really have to deal with it. That's who told me that. So who did my surgery was not Black. So I think Ali Abadi is Armenian potentially. So I understand why someone would say that, because yes, there's, they don't care too much about our pain, as I say, but get a second opinion outside your network if you can, if you have HMO.
And I totally agree with that. And I love that you are really pushing the second opinion, asking the right questions, really enforcing how women need to be aware of what their options are, because that's very important and why we have this conversation. Because I want to go back to, and not to get too intrusive in your family, but I know there were several women in my family that had hysterectomies, but ain't nobody tell me why.
Right. Well,
right.
That's what they told Black women to get.
It was what they told us to get, and we just didn't ask any questions. And I think that we grew up in an era where we didn't ask questions. In the African American community, it's not something that we openly discuss. We don't openly discuss mental health. We don't openly discuss reproductive health. We don't openly discuss. What we do openly discuss is issues with the heart, like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. But we don't go into these other areas. And so I think that it's very important that we start to have the conversations with our nieces and our children, our little nephews, our cousins, whomever. They need to know the deal. And yes, I did say nephew, because the reality is this. If you're on here, you're African American, 9 times out of 10, and this statistics say that 1 out of 8 African American women will end up with a fibroid. So if you have a nephew, like my son knows. My son's hip. My son's 23. Yeah. And he's very hip. He knows what his mother went through. Yeah. And it's funny because one of his girlfriends was dealing with heavy periods and having a lot of the symptoms as if she had a fibroid. Now, of course, I'm Dr. Kimberly King, but my doctor is in divinity. I'm a doctor of ministry. So they always think I know everything. And I'm like, I don't know if she got a fibroid, but tell her to call me, and I'll call her mom, and let me try to see and work this out. But we didn't have those conversations, right? I was glad that my son was so open to hearing what I was dealing with, because hopefully, and she did go to the doctor, and they did find out that she had like 2 fibroids, and she's only like 19. And I think that having the conversations with the boys, it's like they're more understanding. Like your friend on here, that's the DJ. He's been chiming in the whole time about your process because he gets it. And that's the thing. I think that, and I think he said something like, it wasn't until I told her she needed to go that she went. Like he said that to you. Sometimes we listen to the man in our life, right? So that's why I said what I said. I know what I said. I said, tell your nephews, your sons, whatever, because
they deal with women, and you need them to also be, passionate and also empathetic about what we go through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm so glad that you said that, because I was going to ask you, and I know you started a foundation or you started this nonprofit. And is now tell us about the nonprofit. Is it have something to do with the endometriosis or the fibroids or about that?
So, you know, I do tons of community work in general, and it's just my heartbeat, and it'll be always for a lifetime, right? You're from the inner city, you're from, you know, broken homes, or you're from, you know, you've seen things happen in your family, you know, you naturally want to have some form of rectifying to your best of your ability as you get older and have the opportunity. So started a foundation. It's called Brown Girl Lux, because it's Black women, but it's also, you know, brown women too, Latina women, and we want to open a door to be able to have these type of conversations, right? And so it is totally geared around this fibroid conversation and learning more about it and doing some more research. And you know, I was, like I said, my good girlfriend Kiana called me before getting on with you. She was on here and she was like, have you ever heard of Henrietta Lacks? And I'm like, no. So we started talking about that. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to go research that, you know? But that's something to look at too. We don't know enough of why we're the only ones suffering, you know? And, you know, I want to do research and have these conversations. And moreover, for the foundation, I want to raise money so that Black women can have the health care that they need. You know, my surgery cost me $30,000 and I paid that. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what everyone can do. Did I want to pay it? No. But did I need to? Yes. And so if I'm able to raise money to help women at least, you know, get ultrasounds, sign up and, you know, see where they stand, you know, we also are saving lives because there's women that die from this too, or have ovarian cancer. You know what I mean? It's like me having stage 3 endometriosis is so dangerous. That's so dangerous.
Very
it's not
dangerous.
even like, it's not a game, you know? And also, you know, I'm grateful to God, you know, my test and tissue came back benign, so I don't have cancer, but that story could have went a different way. I know people's, you know, results that came back and it was different, you know? Yeah. So early detection, which you know is one of the most important things in medical. And so if we can help, you know, that's just what I want to do. Because honestly, I probably should have had this, I definitely should have had the surgery years ago. Definitely, you know, but here we are now. There's nothing that I can do about it now, you know, but definitely if I can help young women at least get tested, sign up, that's what I want to do.
I love that. I think that's so important. And I think the advocacy that you are promoting, the education that you are sharing, and some of the options that you are giving women in your quest to help no one go through what you went through, I think is commendable. And this is one of the reasons why we had you on today, because we wanted those that watch us here and your friends and your family and all of your followers to understand what you were resilient at and what you went through. Because sometimes, you know, we just don't have the opportunity or the bandwidth to do what you're doing. And so I think that, you know, you are pretty incredible. I do think that it is a great start to something wonderful to be able to share this with so many women because of your network. You know, I always tell people our network is our net worth. You know,
Sure.
it's so much more than finance, but it's also about how we share our stories because they help people. And our relationships are our biggest currency, right?
Yeah.
So,
sure.
you know, all of the relationships that you have garnered with all of your industry friends, I believe that collectively, if each one of us who has fibroids or had fibroids, and we just talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And just tell people, because I'm sure people have been enlightened. Tell us a little bit as we close out, because I do have just 1 or 2 more questions if you got a minute. Right. But I just want you to just kind of, I want you to just maybe challenge the women that are on here with why it's important to share their story, or why it's important to have a conversation with somebody else or their doctor. Because I think that I just want you to just challenge them, just tell them why it's so important for them to share.
Well, one thing I'll say, and this probably be the close, that really is advocate for yourself.
Okay.
You know, no one's going to advocate for you. It's something I learned. Even if you expect people in your family, all that, it's just no one's going to advocate for you. So really advocate for yourself and ask all the questions, no matter if they get annoyed or it doesn't even matter, you know, and that's part of the advocating for yourself. And it's just important to know what's going on in your health, because either you want to live or not. And, you know, early detection is everything for everything. It doesn't even matter what it is, you know, in health. So advocate for yourself, ask the questions, do the research, have the conversations, because this is the research, is having the conversations. You know, my research was having a conversation with Candace and having a conversation with Shayla. And Shayla had a really close friend named Esther who called me and told me her whole journey and everything that happened with her. And those were, you know, have a conversation with my aunt who had a hysterectomy, my aunt Michelle. These are the research parts. Do your research and advocate for yourself and ask the questions.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I wanted her really, she just basically surmised everything we just talked about, you all, which is her simply having the conversation with Candace, right? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned somebody else, Shayla.
Mm-hmm.
You having a conversation with Candace and Shayla opened up your whole mind to something you knew nothing about. So that's what I'm talking about, you all. I'm not just on here saying, oh, why should we have the conversation? Why is it so important? We should share. No, this is more than just sharing. It's a wealth of knowledge out here. And there are people who you are connected to. We always tell people this in church, because my husband's a pastor. What you need is in your house.
It's true.
People always look outside their house for everything they need. But they don't realize that their network, I just said it, is your net worth. Your network of people is invaluable, because inevitably somebody in your circle has either gone through what you're going through or knows someone that's going through what you're going through and may have an answer, and you could be the answer in the earth that that person needs. So that's why these conversations are important. I don't want anybody to go through what Diddy went through, Miss Diddy. I don't want anybody to go through the pain, the debilitating demeanor you have had to endure. I don't want anybody to go through the bleeding, the cramping, you know, and everything that you had to fight and muster through. I don't want anybody to go through that. And so as many times as I have to do these lives, I'll do them. As many times as we got to reach out to you, I hope you'll say yes. And we are so grateful to you. And if you all have any other questions for those of you that are watching, first, before I even say that, to all of Miss Diddy's friends and followers who have chimed in, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all so much. I wish I could save the comments.
I know.
I don't know if you were able to see them all. And so if you saw me looking down, it was because I was reading all of the sentiments. People are blown away. Cannot believe everything. Your phone is probably getting ready to blow up. And your inbox is going to be full, but I do want to thank them for supporting you, because for a lot of women, it is a very lonely process. And they don't have anybody to walk them through the sadness, the pain, and the fact that they don't have options. But here at USA Fibroid Centers, I do want to say this before we close out, you do have options. We do have a non-surgical, non-invasive procedure called UFE. Look it up. It's called a Uterine Fibroid Embolization. We have over 105 centers around the nation. We're in so many different states. We're actually, the doctors were here in Maryland. I live in the DMV area, Ms. Diddy.
DMV area.
I live in the DMV area. And they were here yesterday. We had a big, huge women's health event here. And Alanya Van Zant was the keynote. And then we were here yesterday. So we did that. So I spoke yesterday. Alanya spoke, and the doctors were here and they spoke. So we going around the country. We'll be y'all coming to LA? We're coming to LA. We'll be in Atlanta next week. We'll be at Essence. We'll be in New York in July. We got a whole schedule coming up, but we wanna get with you, and we'll do that off the record. But thank you so much for sharing your story. I know you were not as hopefully I made you comfortable.
No, 100%.
Okay.
From the gate, you definitely did.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Listen, I want all of you that are watching to call the number below. Even if we don't have the UFE option is not for you, our doctors will lead and guide you to the right direction, which I love, because this is not just about UFE, it's about advocacy and about us just making everything aware to the women who don't know. So call the number below. We can do a telehealth consultation with you, which means we can do it just like this virtually. The doctors will talk to you, and then if they feel that you need to come in, they will have you to come in to a center that's closest to you. We take most insurances, believe it or not. A lot of people like, do we have to pay? We take probably maybe 80 to 90% of insurances that are offered. So it's really, really convenient. And so hopefully we have been some help to everybody that's watching. But I do want to thank you.
Said, can you have kids after UFE? And my
Yes.
girl, Brianna, who I was talking about, she said, yes, I think that's the procedure that she had, that she was explaining to me. So just wanted to, but you guys can call and have those level of conversation, but wanted to say that because I saw that. I think that's
absolutely. Yeah, we're not medical doctors. So you can call and the medical doctors will direct you. We just wanted to inform you. And so thank you so much, Miss Diddy. I love you already. And I love you already. And I hope to see you soon. Everybody have a wonderful evening and be safe. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.